Hey, greetings, everybody, and welcome to Mahamudra for the People. I hope you're doing well. It's a pleasure to be here back with everybody. And forgive me, we kind of dropped the ball with a hair with respect to getting the link up um, for these April classes. And also, I think, as you'll see, there won't be a class next Tuesday. I have a conflicting event, and then I think the same with the following Tuesday. I'm sorry, the 16th and the 23rd. I have conflicting events, so I won't be able to be here. But then we'll continue on the 30th. So I just wanted to let people know about that. And I hope that your practice has been good over the past week or so. Let's begin with the four thoughts to turn the mind to Dharma, as we have. And then afterwards, there'll be time for us to practice together. And I have a couple passages I want to share. And so we'll begin with the contemplation on this precious human rebirth, or precious human birth, or precious embodiment, or precious human embodiment, however you want to think about this. And beginning with a kind of recognition of the intense level of complexity inherent in you being here. Right? So being here, watching this video now live, or anybody watching the recording in the future, when we stop to think of everybody who has helped get us to the present moment in our practice, this includes so many beings. And I had last night before going to sleep, created this Instagram post around one of my teachers, Putting Rinpoche. And it was really nice. He had been on my mind when I was in retreat last month. Oh, sorry, last week, and last month, quite a bit, because he was the person who kind of put me on this dark retreat path in a kind of secret way. And just recalling everybody I've ever met through him, right? So meeting him, receiving instruction from him, but more than that, receiving his kindness, receiving his tenderness, receiving his ability to receive me and then take me seriously as a student when there is absolutely no reason why he should. And then the way he opened up this mandala door to all the other people that were in his mandala, right? Other practitioners, friends, boarders, etc. And in this moment in our lives, it's so easy to feel isolated. It's so easy to feel alone. It's so easy to feel separate, separated, or disconnected. But when we stop to look at every single person who has helped us along the way, our teachers, our spiritual friends, our spiritual communities, our loved ones, anybody who has held down the home fort, as it were, or home front, while we go into retreat. So for me, my partner, even my kids, all of these beings, all of their love and their support come together to help bring us to this moment. And being here in this moment of gathering around Dharma, practicing Dharma together, we further imbue this life with even more preciousness because of what this practice does. It liberates us. It causes us to be able to touch into the infinite, as it were. And the fact that we can do that is also precious. This means that ultimately if we can develop a relationship to our own mind where we see our own mind as a Buddha, right? We see our own mind as one of our lamas, or see our own mind as one of our gurus, and everything that arises as a result of the direct experience of mind. We're touching into this very direct way of experiencing tremendous wisdom. And this too is precious. This is the most precious thing because it is a manifestation of the human being who is completely connected, cued in, say, tapped into their own resourceness or resilience. And of course, this present precious life is also precious because it is a limited resource. Each one of us is, to some extent, in a phase of dying. Right? Some people have said, you hear this quote, the moment you are born is the moment you start dying. In a certain way, that's true. But rather than be overly macabre or goth about it, we can have a relationship to this impermanence and the inevitability of our own death in such a way that causes us to be able to experience gratitude in the most simple ways. Right? So in New York City today, for example, probably because of global warming, but we'll take it. It's a very beautiful, warm day, unseasonably warm, somewhere in the 70s, I think it's supposed to get up to. And the birds are chirping, and the light is bright, and the flowers are blooming. And this is able to be understood and experienced as something very, very special, a manifestation of perfection, even, especially because of the fragility of this moment. Tomorrow will be different. All the flowers eventually at some point will fade. One day it will become cloudy. So this impermanence is something that is constantly present, but it doesn't have to be depressing. It doesn't have to be a downer. If we can really feel into the way this allows us to experience the sacredness of the ordinary in everything we do. Sacred partially because it will all fade at some point. And then karma, cause and effect. We tend to be completely wrapped up and obsessed with controlling things. And there's a lot that we cannot control. And this is because the causal factors that have caused things to arise the way that they do are based on factors or conditions that are complex and interwoven. And this is karma. And just as much as we think that we can be in control and want to be in control at times, we cannot be. We might get very lucky for a period of time where it really feels like we're the masters of our own destiny. But then all of a sudden something shifts and there's a change. Everything can be going well, and then we find out we have a serious health condition, or a loved one dies, or there's a radical shift. One loses their job, perhaps, or something else. And for practitioners of Mahamudra and practitioners of Hatha Yoga, this is actually the place where we can really sink our teeth into our practice, practicing with everything that arises, the good, the bad, the middling, that which is easy to behold, that which is hard to be present to, and that which is more average, especially beginning to understand how much joy and freedom and spaciousness and ease there is when we let go of trying to be in control. How much room there is for rest in that. There's an aspect of kind of decolonization that is inherent in this as well. And then the dissatisfactory nature of samsara. Samsara is challenging. As long as there is attachment and aversion, there's this push-pull, right? Like, dislike, want, not want. As long as we're caught in that pull, we will never know peace fully. And so how to do this? Again, to learn how to be able to have a direct and open relationship to the nature of mind and phenomena, to be able to dissect, relax, massage, ease out of all of this tension and tightness of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, and being present in this moment. And so from this place, with the four thoughts, turn the mind to Dharma, let's move into a little bit of meditation. Allowing your body to relax. Letting your breath be very relaxed and easy. Trying to allow yourself the benefit of releasing yourself from any kind of attachment or aversion or stickiness in relationship to the past. So this is anything up to this moment that has already happened. Try to let go completely of the past. And then similarly, trying to let go completely of any expectation about the future. So this can include goals, being obsessed with success, successfully accomplishing meditation. And while these things can feel quite important, trying to let these things go. Let the future go. Let the past go. Let the present moment go. This idea that we will sometimes have of needing to be here now, be here now, be here now, be here now. Let that go. Be here with your senses. Be here with awareness. Letting go of control. Letting go of needing to figure anything out. And simply resting into this moment. And we'll practice like this for 15 minutes. And gently bring yourself back to the group. I just want to make sure there's a lot of construction going on outside of our apartment right now. Can you hear me okay? Is it okay? Great, great. I can't hear myself. Okay, very good, very good. So I want to share two passages that I think are helpful. And we'll keep going, with Book Rinpoche's pointing out the door, opening the door to certainty. After the two passages, I want to make some time though to see if people have any questions or reflections based on their practice up till this point. Both of these passages come from this book called The Crystal Cave, and they're two short, basically kind of like pith instructions, one by Milarepa and then the other by Gampopa. And each one is about one side of a page. And I'm showing this just because I think for me, I was in retreat last week. There's a lot that's on my mind as a result of that around the importance of listening to what it means to open up to the mind's natural perfection in settling into either the practice of shamatha or the practice of, laptung, vipassana, and both. Meaning, especially this point with Tilopa's fourth nail about control, letting go of control, meaning you don't need to do all the work, right? The mind naturally does the work, awareness naturally does the work, in a way, for us. And there's a lot of relief to be had in letting go of needing to be in control of this process, which I think is really important for people to remember. So this is called Illuminating Wisdom by Milarepa. So he says, homage to all the sacred masters. When we talk about the characteristics of the Mahamudra of illuminating wisdom, we talk about three sections: ground Mahamudra, path Mahamudra, and fruition Mahamudra. First, the ground. The essential nature of things, the mind of the Buddhas, the mind essence of sentient beings, does not exist like something that has color or shape or center or edge. It is free from limitations and partiality and knows neither existence nor non-existence. It is neither confused nor liberated. It is not created through causes and not changed through conditions. It is neither altered through the wisdom of the Buddhas nor spoiled through the obscurations of sentient beings. It is neither improved through realization nor worsened through confusion. So this is the ground Mahamudra. Path Mahamudra, that which is to be practiced. Path Mahamudra is that which is to be practiced within the ground Mahamudra, and should be as follows. When settling, settle without conceptualizing. Right, so let's just take a moment and pause here. When settling, settle without conceptualization. Like, what does this mean, right? Like, what is it like to settle your mind without a thought, without an idea that it should be like this, right? Buddha's minds are vast. So somehow, as I settle, my mind should be vast. Right? This is an example of settling with concept. A Buddhist mind is mind of compassion. As I settle, I should have compassion towards everything. Right? This also is conceptual. It's all of the qualities of a Buddha or Bodhisattva. And we get to let go of that for a little moment. So Milarepa is saying here, right? When we settle without conceptualizing. There's this kind of, I could say implicit relinquishment or implicit cutting away of, or, sorry, is there ambulance going by? Settling without anything, right? Maybe we could say settling is rest. Settling is ease. Settling is space. So when settling, settle without conception. When remaining, remain without distraction. So this is good too, because what is distraction? So, I live in this very noisy place, all sorts of things, ambulances, construction, random people yelling, all this kind of stuff, motorcycles going by, my kids will be home soon, and then there will be that kind of, bubbling stuff. The question is, though, what is distraction? Just because you hear something doesn't mean it's a distraction, right? Just because you feel something, a temperature, doesn't make it a distraction. And so when we settling without distraction, we're not straining in this kind of, concentration. Like, I must not be distracted. I will not be distracted by that noise or that feeling or that thought. This is especially the case, like when we are able to understand that everything that is experienced, body, speech, mind, through awareness, etc., is able to be held with awareness itself. Nothing is able to be a distraction because everything is included. And this is like, we're a little similar to what Dr. Nita says sometimes when he talks about, Rigpa or awareness being all inclusive, right? It holds all things. So there's really technically nothing we can become distracted by until we zoom in and create this kind of, subject-object split in the moment between what is happening. Oh, why is that person yelling? Oh, that sound. Why is that sound happening? And we get involved in all of these things, which we find in Tilopa's Six Nails are relatively extraneous, right? Meaning making, control, right? Origination, right? Past, destination, future, even this present moment. Right? So when we settle without conception, we settle beyond distraction. When practicing, practice without fixation. Right? So practice without needling whatever it is that's happening. Sound, smell, taste, touch, taste, touch, right? So not objectifying, right? Leaving everything alone, and leaving phenomena alone. Maybe we could even say, going so far as to say that we don't require phenomena to justify us. We can just be confident enough to leave it alone. And we don't leave it alone because it's problematic. We leave it alone because it's okay as it is. Sound is okay as it is. Sight is okay as it is. Taste, touch, etc. Right? So when settling, settle without conception or conceptualization. When remaining, remain without distraction. When practicing, practice without fixation. When manifesting, let it manifest as dharmata, this essenceless awakening. When freed, practice it as natural freedom. Everything is just happening. And all of us here and anybody watching this, I'm sure, very intelligent. Part of our conceptual intelligence is measured by how well we categorize things, how artfully we can describe things. Right? And here we don't even need to do any of that stuff. This is where these instructions of practicing like a simpleton come in very handy. Just let it all go. Let it all happen. We are not needed. And so this is Path Mahamudra. And then Fruition Mahamudra. Milarepa says, Fruition Mahamudra is free from something which liberates, free from hope and fear, free from the exhaustion of concepts and phenomena, free from non-fixation and non-clinging, and free from utterance and description, which is beyond concept. Ground, path, and fruition are to be practiced as one. So bringing these all together, bringing them together just by resting into the moment. So maybe I'll just read this one time without interrupting it with my blah blah. So this is Illuminating Wisdom by Milarepa. Homage to all the sacred masters. When we talk about the characteristics of the Mahamudra of illuminating wisdom, we talk about three sections: ground Mahamudra, path Mahamudra, and fruition Mahamudra. First, the ground Mahamudra. The essential nature of things, the mind of the Buddhas, the mind essence of sentient beings, does not exist like something that has color or shape or a center or edge. It is free from limitations and partiality and knows neither existence nor non-existence. It is neither confused nor liberated. It is not created through causes and not changed through conditions. It is neither altered through the wisdom of the Buddhas nor spoiled through the obscurations of sentient beings. It is neither improved through realization nor worsened through confusion. Path Mahamudra is that which is to be practiced. This is to be practiced within the ground Mahamudra and should be as follows. When settling, settle without conceptualization. When remaining, remain without distraction. When practicing, practice without fixation. When manifesting, let it manifest as dharmata. When freed, practice it as natural freedom. Fruition Mahamudra is free from something which liberates, free from hope and fear, free from the exhaustion of concepts and phenomena, free from the non-fixation and non-clinging, and free from utterance and description, which is beyond concept. Ground, path, and fruition are to be practiced as one. And so this was composed by Milarepa. And so next we'll move on to a text by Gampopa, slightly longer, but not much, called The Single Sufficient Path by Gampopa. And so Gampopa was Milarepa's, one of his main students. The other was Rechungpa. Gampopa had been a monk, but before that, he wasn't a monk. Before he was a monk, he was actually a Tibetan doctor. And he was married and had kids. And then some kind of, local epidemic broke out. And Gampopa, Gampopa, because he was a Tibetan doctor, was wrapped up, in treating people. And eventually both of his children succumbed to the illness that he was trying to treat that was affecting everybody else, and they both died. And then shortly thereafter, his wife contracted whatever it was that he was trying to, that was going around. And as she lay dying, she, it was evident that she was going to pass, and she told him that he should become a monk after she dies, and he should devote his life to Dharma. And as kind of a promise to her, he said that this is what he would do, and this is what he did. So he became a monk in the Kadampa order. This was before the Kagyu, really existed technically. So very kind of early lineage of Buddhism that was brought to India by Atisha. And he practiced as a monk for a number of years, and had good experiences. He was talented as a practitioner, and he heard the name of Milarepa at some point. It was just drawn to this idea of who this yogi was, and was like, I need to go meet him. He went to go meet Milarepa, and and they eventually created a teacher-student relationship, and Gampopa received instruction from Milarepa and practiced, and recognized the nature of his mind and became awake. And then he began to kind of transmit Mahamudra. And because he was a monastic, it was mostly from Gampopa's activity that this kind of monastic aspect of the Karma Kagyu tradition, or Kagyu tradition, really before the Karma Kagyu specifically, the Kagyu tradition arose as a monastic tradition. So he writes also, homage to all the sacred masters. This instruction, entitled Gampopa's Single Sufficient Path of Mahamudra, has 3 parts: resolving the natural state, pointing out the mode of being, and training in thatness as the path. The first section has 5 points. Mahamudra has no cause. Mahamudra has no condition. Mahamudra has no method. Mahamudra has no path. Mahamudra has no fruition. Mahamudra has no cause. Why is this? This is because the mind is naturally awake, right? Our Buddha nature, Sujata Garbha, is constantly pure, free, open, dynamic, right? Awareness at its core does not need modification. It does not need to be made better. It does not need clarification. This is why Mahamudra has no cause. Mahamudra has no condition, right? The resting into natural awareness has no condition, because natural awareness is constantly present. Right? So it's not that we need to create 2 things and bring them together to make this happen. It's always there. It's always available. Mahamudra has no method, right? This can be frustrating for some people, but it just means it can be experienced through everything. Right? There's no singular path, no singular way, no singular, first you do this, then you do this, then you do this. Right? It is, Mahamudra, you could say, is a continuum of experience. Right? It doesn't have a starting point. It doesn't have an ending point. It doesn't have, oh, you are beginning here in the beginning, and oh, you have now ripened your experience of Mahamudra. Right? Conventionally, these things exist, but essentially they don't. Mahamudra has no path. Right? Because the essence of mind is constantly pure no matter what, no matter where you are. So for example, Alia is here. Alia was with me and other people in Portugal, right? Mind and Mahamudra is the same at home as it is there, as it is being in an airplane flying, as it is going to another planet. If all of us trained as astronauts and went to different galaxies, Mahamudra would be there too. And Mahamudra is there now. Mahamudra has no fruition, is the last of these five. And so there's no, amazing crescendo. Right? It was there before you were born. It will be there after you die. It will be there through the bardo. It will be there when you re-arise. It is constantly, constantly there. So this is this first section. Mahamudra has no cause, no condition, no method, no path, no fruition. So the second section, pointing out the mode of being, has 5 points. Mahamudra has no cause, yet faith and devotion are the cause. Mahamudra has no condition, yet a sacred master is the condition. Mahamudra has no method, yet non-fabrication is the method. Mahamudra has no path, yet undistracted mind is the path. Mahamudra has no fruition, yet freeing concepts into dharmata is the fruition. Right? So the second session, pointing out the mode of being, right? Pointing out the mode of being, we could say is pointing out the way this is experienced. Mahamudra has no cause, yet faith and devotion are the cause. So we've already seen in Bokram Rinpoche's Opening the Door to Certainty, right? There is it's described as a causal factor for recognizing a principal factor, I'm sorry. The principal factor for recognizing the Mahamudra state is to understand our relationship to the guru. So this can be a person, as Bokram Rinpoche explains, a person belonging to a lineage who can transmit instructions. But then there's also the guru as appearance. So this is everything, right? This is a blue sky. This is flowers on trees. This is birds. This is the experience we might have if we go to the top of a mountain and look down and we see this vast expanse, and it causes us to be able to open into spacious awareness, or going even to the beach, right, in this big vast open space. Or even if anybody's been in to Old Delhi in India, a place I like to go visit is Jama Masjid, the big monastery there. I'm sorry, big mosque there. And its central kind of open space is so big, it makes one naturally contemplate, the architect and everyone who practices there. But of course, this is the home of Allah or God, because look at how big this massive space is. It just feels incredibly huge. Right? So we do rely on a teacher. We rely also on learning how to be able to experience everything that we do experience in our life as our teacher, but then also to understand mind and awareness also as the teacher, and what it means to have a relationship of open devotion. We could say maybe, preciousness, the appreciation of preciousness, of recognizing the nature of my awareness, recognizing the pointing out instruction that's conveyed through listening to birds chirp, or warm air after what has felt like a long, cold winter, or bright sun. Every single thing points out the nature of awareness, if we can let it. So this is what he is pointing out. Mahamudra has no cause, yet faith and devotion are the cause. Mahamudra has no condition, yet a sacred master is the condition. Why is this? Well, because there's an instruction. This is the irony. On a relative level, we need some kind of guidance on how to get free, right? Get free from all of our conceptual limitation, get free from role function, get free from striving, get free from overly fixating, get free from being worried about being good or clean or okay. This is essentially, in one manner of speaking, is sometimes most profoundly expressed when it is expressed orally. And this is why this kind of relationship is important. Mahamudra has no method, yet non-fabrication is the method. Non-fabrication of ideas, severing this kind of natural bubbling root of extrapolation. So therefore, I'm feeling this, therefore, I'm thinking this, therefore, it's warm outside, therefore, that person walked by, therefore, that sound happened, therefore, just letting all of that go. Let it. None of this is particularly real. The ways that we spin crazy yarns. Mahamudra has no path, yet undistracted mind is the path. And so when I was talking before about practicing in an undistracted way, the way to do this is to settle into awareness, because awareness holds absolutely everything that occurs. There's nothing outside of awareness, so distraction from awareness is an impossibility. When we recognize that awareness holds everything, and that therefore everything can be left to be, we don't need to come back around and double check this or focus. Why is that person doing that? Why is that sound being made? Why is it so loud here? Why? Asking the question, maybe we have to occasionally in the beginning ask ourselves this question: what does all the positing do for me? Why? At some point, we just have to be quiet. Why? If anybody's been with a toddler, right, who's just why this? Why is the sky blue? I don't know. Why is an orange orange? I don't know. Why does an apple look like that? I don't know. Why? And even if we knew, how much does that really change everything? What does that solve? And this last of the second section, Mahamudra has no fruition, yet freeing concepts into dharmata is the fruition. So the fruition of Mahamudra is allowing concepts, ideas, values, all of these things to just naturally subside. Just letting everything happen, like being out in nature. Right? If we go out into nature and we walk, we sit, lay down, what have you, touch things, listen to things, smell things. Nature doesn't need you to say, oh, that smells good. Thank you for smelling me and thank you for defining me, right? Or if you go to the beach and you see this just amazing sunset or sunrise, right? The moment you think, wow, that's incredible. It's not like, the horizon is like, oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness they said that and defined me. Or something, unsettling, seeing a snake. What is that? Getting freaked out. If the snake, doesn't need you to say that so that it can say, haha, see, now we know who's boss. Mineral outcroppings, bears, squirrels, they don't need us. We like to think that they do, but they don't. They freeing concepts into dharmatas of fruition, right? This process of just letting everything dissolve back into the ground of the ground experience. Just because you can conceive it doesn't mean that label needs to be placed on what is happening. And this, I'm very convinced that this is kind of the ultimate decolonization of our mind. Right? Freeing ourselves from all the labels, freeing ourselves from all the values, freeing ourselves from all this, and just simply letting everything, including ourselves, just be. So the third section is training in thatness as the path, and this has 4 points. As a preliminary, practice the Guru Yoga 3 times a day and 3 times at night with faith, devotion, and respect. As a main point of practice, settle the mind in the state of non-fabrication and embrace it with non-distraction. As a conclusion, recognize whatever occurs as being your own mind and train your awareness in that recognition. So I'll with respect to this last one, as a conclusion, recognize whatever occurs as being your own mind and train your awareness in that recognition. So last week I was doing a dark retreat, and this is exactly, one of the things that one has to be able to be very good at. Everything that happens, anxiety, fear, being completely solitary in silence for extended periods of time in complete darkness and visions beginning to come. Everything that you experience is your own mind. There's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing even to react to. And yet, there's all of this stuff happening. Memories, traumas, anxieties, as justified and as trackable, traceable as they are within the context of our lived, life experience. Being able to let these things be able to be understood as nothing other than the experience of my own mind allows me to let all of these things go. And awareness is the key component to this, right? Having a open and mature relationship to understanding what it means to be aware. What it means to be aware is to know, is to feel. And I don't mean knowing in a conceptual way, but knowing, experiencing, being, beingness, knowing beingness, or being knowing beingness. Right? Letting all these things come and then letting them also dissolve. It's okay. Right? But the moment we find ourselves reacting, oh, what was that? Oh my God, am I losing my mind? I just saw X, Y, or Z in the dark. Or this fear came. I can locate the source of some of the conditioning I have around particular fears and blame the person or people or dynamics that may have caused that to happen in the first place. But what does that do? Me sitting in the dark. blaming other people who may not be alive, or dynamics that may have passed, and shifted and no longer exist, haven't existed for 30 years. Could it be that I'm the one who's keeping all of this alive? Training in the way in which experiences manifest. Exert yourself in meditation practice until concepts have been exhausted. Right? Until all of the triangulation of intellect loosens. Right? This, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this. And this is actually really odd because, the Vajrayana tradition has so much in it that it is really easy to have an encyclopedic relationship to it. And the problem with an encyclopedic relationship is that all of these, we begin to see structures where we don't need structures, right? There can be whole hierarchies of practice in places where we don't need these hierarchies to be. And so this point of practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing until we have full confidence in the fact, not only full confidence in a fact, but full confidence in the direct experience of what happens when we release our conceptual mind into spacious ease. What happens? Right? This is not anything that another person can tell you. They can tell you what happens, theoretically, but it is meaningless until we have experienced it for ourselves. This is the key thing. When we have experienced it, then, this is like plugging, right into the source. Oh, I know now. Yeah, it's like that's, the song Amazing Grace, right? I once was lost, but now I'm found. Right? I once was lost because I took everything to be real. I was lost in my conceptuality. I was lost in my intellect. I was lost in my discursiveness. But as I let that go, settle into awareness, settle into the mind's true nature, I was found. I was able to actually see and be free and be dynamic rather than just being this, right, whatever this is, right? Whether it's tall or small or male or female or in between or some other thing, right? To be the space, to be the freedom, to be the joy, to be the experience, to be the being is the point. So then Gampopa says there are two types of experiences which occur: disharmonious and harmonious. The first one includes dullness, right? So we're talking about disharmonious. So dullness, excitement, sickness, fear, jadedness, doubt, and so forth. So he says, and this is a beautiful piece of advice, since these result from practice, no matter which of these may occur, recognize them to be temporary experiences. Without trying to disregard them, make them the aim of your view and meditation. Thereafter, harmonious experiences will naturally occur. So, for example, dullness. We can experience dullness. And you can also experience awareness of dullness. And if you're experiencing awareness of dullness, you're already moving out, right? Who is the one who's feeling dull? What is dull, right? If awareness is clear and recognizes dullness, awareness is not dullness, right? Really, so what I'm saying here is like really getting into the process. No one is going to point this out for us or make this happen for us. We have to be the very attentive. When dullness arises, bring the dullness right into your practice. When excitement happens, oh my God, this is just like what I read in Milarepa's biography or in Gampopa's biography. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh, this is so great. Oh, this is so great. Okay, look at that. Bring that. Right? Excitement can feel great, but excitement is never stable, right? Sickness. I think it was Gotsangpa, who was another great Mahamudra practitioner. Gotsangpa used to really love getting sick because then he would bring illness and the fear of death into his practice. Right? When he would get sick. I did this to some extent too. Right? When I get sick, then I immediately go to perhaps this is how it ends. Perhaps it's the beginning of the process. I don't know. I'm 49. My root teacher died when she was 50. There are plenty of people who have died younger than that. Right? Uh, there's no guarantee I'm going to live longer than today. Right? So maybe this is how it happens. Okay. All of the things that come with the sickness, right? It could just be like a cold or the flu where I just feel, I feel not particularly present. Right? My senses feel obscured. My body feels painful or uncomfortable. It's sore when I swallow. Breathing feels a little labored. Or it could be more serious. It could be different, right? It could be a stomach virus, painful. And so feel into all of these things. Right? It's funny how in America, at least, it's like we're so into painkillers, right? We need to shift when there's discomfort. I need to shift. And I see this all the time with practitioners too. Oh, that made me uncomfortable. I can't do that again. Oh, good luck. Right. If you can't, and I'm not saying that in like a mean way, but just like nobody, like when it comes to working with our own fear or pain or suffering, it is only really us who can learn how to be able to liberate ourselves from this. Other people can help give support, but we have to be the ones who work our way through this, right? Otherwise, we're essentially kind of bypassing the whole situation. So fear, jadedness. I know a couple people who are so jaded as practitioners that it is like maddening to like watch how much, oh, I know, I know. I know. We all get like this, right? Sometimes we say we know because we don't want to disrupt anything. We don't want to get uncomfortable. We don't, want to, uh, you know, feel that we're beginners, even though we've been practicing for a long time. So we know. Oh, I know this. Yeah, yeah. I've been doing it for so long. I know. Right? Looking at that, doubt. Right? Doubt is really great. Right? I find doubt so many reasons. Within the context of Mahamudra, I think doubt is really beneficial. If anybody is interested in becoming a chaplain, doubt is essential. Right? Doubt is the thing that helps us to be able to, for us to be able to work and gain comfort in our doubt, gives us the strength to be able to be present for other people in a supportive way through their doubt. What if this is all bullshit? Useful question to ask sometimes. Maybe, am I fooling myself? It's been so long. The Instagram post of images of Putting Rinpoche. I met him in 1997. Some of those pictures are from that. Oh God, it's been that long. It's almost been, 30 years or something like that, right? I mean, has it been worth it? Right? All of these things. I'm not saying we have to ask these questions, but when we do, it can be a little helpful because then we begin to look at, well, what is the point of this, right? The point is recognizing the unfabricated nature of mind, right? So, yeah, I can doubt the concepts totally, right? But using all of these things to be able to go deeper into ourselves is really important, rather than running away, rather than turning that smile upside down kind of thing. So this is where he says, since these result from practice, no matter which of these may occur, recognize them to be temporary experiences without trying to discard them. Make them the aim of your view and meditation. So this is almost like let your gaze of space cause these things to evaporate in the moment. Right? Let your relationship to the view, right? This natural wakefulness of Rigpa or awareness. When we apply this to all of these, we see that they all begin to shift. They all change into something else. Right? I invite people to begin to kind of feel into this for yourself. And then he says, thereafter, harmonious experiences will naturally occur. So then he says, the first harmonious experience is the occurrence of stillness. Right? So sometimes we're practicing, we've talked about this before, stillness. Everything is, mind is still and chilled out. Great. But it is also a place where we can easily become attached. Right? Oh, it's so still, it's so good, so relaxed, so pleasant. Not like everything out there. That's movement. Or not like when my mind gets all jumbled, right? That's different, right? That's distracted or something like this, right? We create this false dichotomy. And, the root of it is because we don't understand what our mind is. So the first harmonious experience is the occurrence of stillness. Based on that, the experience of the empty essence follows, right? So we're able to recognize the emptiness of mind, thought, reaction, etc. Next follows the experience of the attainment, and finally, the experience of revulsion. And in revulsion is not, that we walk around feeling disgusted, like, oh my God, I can't believe you, what a sorry state of affairs you are in your mind, right? It's more, we walk around and we see, oh my God, this is a crazy place, right? Why is this a crazy place? Because I was once lost in my own experience of concept and of judgment and of value and all of these things, right? And now I'm free. But when I look, I see so many other people completely wrapped up in this, creating their own suffering, right? And the suffering of others, right? People whose minds are so on fire that they create harm for themselves and harm for others. Right. And this causes a very kind of natural revulsion, or you could say even a natural renunciation. Not necessarily in a monastic sense at all, but just recognizing, oh, ignorance or marikpa. Wow, if there has to be an enemy, it's that. But even saying that is too much, right? Saying that is too much, right? So Gampopa then says, exert yourself in meditation practice. Do not regard the way in which experience and realization occur to be enough. Beyond this, it is not enough for your mind to be still. You must practice to see its essence. Right? So once stillness occurs, right? For anybody who's like, I'm going to just hang out here for the rest of my life. Well, that's better than before, but that's not the point, right? And believe me, I can definitely concede how good it feels for the mind to be still and relaxed like this. But we need to keep going. So beyond this, it is not enough for your mind to be still. You must practice to see its essence. It is not enough to just see its essence. You must practice to attain realization. It is not enough to just attain realization. You must practice to turn away from attachment. It is not enough to just turn away from attachment. You must practice to free your conceptual mind in the dharmata and attain Buddhahood in the exhaustion of phenomena and concepts. Thus spoke Gampopa. This completes the heart essence, the single sufficient path of Mahamudra, which was first transmitted by the great Indian Pandita, Lord Naropa. Right, so the kind of point of both of these is don't give up, don't stop, just keep going, keep going, keep going. And you don't need to keep going in some kind of intensely, egomaniacal way. Oh, I'm going to become a messiah kind of thing. You just keep going, to let concepts, we could say the conceptual mind is just as impermanent as anything else when we practice Dharma. Right? And so what we're really trying to see is I want to go to its funeral. Like I want to be, a pallbearer for a conceptual mind. I want to be tossing flowers at the graveside of conceptual mind. Right? I want to wish it a farewell through the bardo. Right? I want to be free. So anyway, I know I went a little over time, and we've got about 8 minutes before we need to stop, but I did want to see if anybody has anything they want to say or reflect on. Or if Gampopa and Milarepa mic dropped us. I like these instructions. But the point here, I think, and I know that it's on one level not optimal that we have to have this 2 weeks between this class and the next class where there isn't anything happening. But I think the good thing about this, though, is it gives everybody 2 full weeks to really feel into this, right? And to be curious, right? I think curiosity is a really healthy and helpful thing too. Curiosity with respect to one's own experience and process in the moment, right? So if you can go outside into some kind of, slightly more natural environment and sit and feel and experience and watch what comes, right? Just as much as you can go to, I have a friend who's a bird watcher. And now's a good time because it's the spring and all these migratory birds pass ironically, but I guess not surprisingly, even through New York City, they'll pass through. And to be a bird watcher as a practitioner is really just to watch thought, emotion, physical sensation, memory, expectation, all of the things that come, let them come. And like a timeless Buddha bird watcher, just watch them come and go. Watch them come and go. And just see what happens. So this is my advice. If it feels good, maybe we can make a commitment to do this for the next 2 weeks. And then when we come back, we'll start off with a check-in to see how that has gone. Does that feel good? Excellent. Excellent. All right. Yes, Anne.
Could we just have the references? Can you post the references for those pieces that you've just read, please?
Yes, if everybody emails me, I'll send you a PDF of the text. Because I don't want to put up something that is copyrighted.
Oh, I see.
You know,
Oh,
you know
yes.
what I'm saying? So if you just email me, I'll email you, the PDF for the text.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Good. Excellent. Yes, Eric.
And how do we email you? Can we fill in the contact form at the Yangti site or?
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah, I think that feels good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Wonderful. Well, maybe we'll pause here. I really want to thank you for being here. Let's dedicate the merit. May all sentient beings, through the practice of Mahamudra, be able to recognize that there's nothing that needs to be done other than resting into the present moment. And having authentically done this, having done this in a way that arrests the conceptual mind, relaxes our relationship to good and bad, and discursiveness, and this and that. May each one of us be able to ceaselessly aid others in coming to this very natural and ordinary recognition. And as beings continue to do this, may all beings become liberated and be free. Well, thank you all so much for being here. Take really good care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.